Testing. Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Does anyone hear me well? I think that should be good enough. Excuse me. I just making sure that my microphone level is at the right amount. So, can anyone hear me? And also, welcome to another Lameguy random stream. This time I'll be attempting to do some art on my on Windows 3.11 on actual hardware. I am actually, what you're seeing on the left is actually captured straight from a 386 PC, and using a composite to VGA to composite or NS video adapter to capture it, because getting a VGA to HDMI and then an HDMI capture device is much more expensive and beyond my budget. So yeah, I'm going to attempt doing some art on Windows 3.11. Obviously, I'm not gonna do it on Paintbrush. I'm gonna use a more advanced application for the task, and that is Adobe Illustrator. I decided to just use Paintbrush for the stream title, just for the heck of it, because I thought it'd be somewhat pretty funny. Also, Paintbrush is actually MS Paint before. Oops. Okay, it seems good. Oh well. So yeah, Paintbrush is actually MS Paint. MS Paint was no wait. Paintbrush is actually based from I think ZSoft PC Paint that Microsoft just licensed from to make Paintbrush for Windows 3.11, which came with the OS, by the way. So it's basically pretty much MS Paint before the infamous MS Paint. Looks like the gain is a bit high. I just realized. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're not gonna draw using Paintbrush. I'm gonna use a more advanced application. So yeah. Okay, just gonna move on to my 386. This is actually not being streamed straight from a 386. I actually have multiple computers running to get this stream going. One to capture the video from the 386, and then with a composite adapter, and then my main computer, which is responsible for capturing the responsible for streaming the video. So let's get started. So let's just close this down. No thanks. So yeah, this is Microsoft Windows 3.11. I actually this was before Windows 95, and it's not a full 32-bit platform yet. And also, one of the most wonderful thing about Windows 3.11 is that the stability of it is best described as a house built entirely out of matchsticks. Because if one program crashes, the whole system goes down with it. That's the disadvantage of because it uses preemptive multitasking. So let's load up Adobe Illustrator 4.1. This is, I think, the last version to run on 3.11. So I'm gonna attempt to draw. Oh wait, this is 1995. Yeah, this is one of the last versions. So I'm gonna attempt to draw some art on this. I'm going to accept some requests if you want. And if I cannot think of a drawing to work on. So yeah. So at the moment, I'm going to finish up a vector design that I've tried to do in my last stream. By the way, this is actually running on actual hardware. This is not emulation. So you might actually hear the noise of the noise that you might have heard is actually the 386, because I have the mic attached and I'll put right next to it. So I want to finish this design a bit. I wonder if I still remember how to use this program. Wait, good thing there's no undo. Great. Yeah, this is a problem with old programs where the undo is almost useless. So I'll just try to get this done, and if any of you make a request that's I'm more interested in doing, I would take that. So yeah, this system is actually older than me. Perhaps I'll just finish this head and then move on to a request if someone gives one. This computer is actually running at 1024 by 768. So my 386 is actually pretty high end for its era. Though there were already 486s by 1992 or 1993, which were much more powerful than this. So perhaps bulk of the power of this system is just the VGA card, which is a Paradise Western Digital, which is one of the best SVGA cards out there. It's cheaper than no. It's almost as good as a Seng ET4000, minus the special hardware acceleration features of the Seng card. So yeah, because this computer is so slow, most of the vector plotting work you do is in wireframe, because field is simply too slow. So I'm gonna go and plot a new stroke here. Or I have to connect this. I think I'll just connect it together. I don't think there's like an ability to like combine the two nodes to form a closed stroke. Join. There we go. Oh wait, average. I should try that. Oh great, no more undo. Let me try to delete this line segment. There we go. Average. Both axes. Uh-oh. Great. Let me guess. No undo. So goodbye stroke. Let me reload. Undo barely works. Rather have no undo than have an undo when it does. When 90% of the time it's unusable. So I gotta do this fix again. Better have no undo than an undo that's barely usable. Because it's pretty much almost like as if the program's trolling you. Okay, you can ask your requests early on if you want, so I can keep that in mind when I get this done. I think I just select these two particular nodes only. Great. I'm only ruining my vector trying to learn it. Why does it always keep these two nodes here selected? Cannot deselect these. No, I think I'll just resort to just joining. There we go. Join. I think you could split or just delete this node. Oh great. There we go. this program was most likely used back then to design like flyers in the 90s. Vector rendering on here is actually not very good compared to the what it should look like, especially with comparing it to modern programs. So what they would do is that they would actually in order to get the full accuracy of your vector design, you have to actually print it on a special printer that supports PostScript. PostScript is actually still used, by the way. Do that move. Great. Also, I fixed the audio issue that I had last time I streamed by 386, where there's sort of like a weird reverb, very late reverb thing going on. Fortunately, I solved that. Okay, let's perhaps make it a little higher. I mean, even Inkscape renders vectors much better than here. Likely because this program draws Bezier curves in all fixed point, and fixed point isn't exactly very precise compared to floating point, and they cannot use floating point because it's much slower unless you have a floating point unit, which not everyone had. And computers equipped with FPUs were mostly for the high-end CAD people. Oh great, wonderful. It crashed and I didn't save. Yay! Let me guess, Windows is gonna screw me over again? Well, I didn't really change much in the design. That's why I save frequently. Even with modern art programs, always save frequently. Because it's gonna screw you over when you crash and then you have a good chunk of your progress is lost. There. Oh wait, it did not connect. Oh yeah, one undo step, on one undo level. You really have to plot its dead center. Oops. Try this. There's a duplicate. With some clever trickery that can come in handy. Enter save. I also tried to fix. Oh, there it goes again. Good thing I saved. Why is it crashing a lot though? So I need to draw that bit of hair here. Oh, what the heck? GDI problems. What happened here? It's just mind drawing error. And we just zoom out, so it'll be easier. Oh yeah. The only way to zoom out is by this tool. Not sure if Super ACL heard what I said about the request thing. You can ask your request now if you want. If I can't stand doing a drawing in this program, I can just switch to to Inkscape and actually import this and continue off of there. But I cannot import reverse export. Like I cannot take an existing Inkscape SVG drawing and then convert it into Illustrator compatible format. Oh, you can actually manipulate strokes like that, like modern vector tools. Actually, this more or less, despite some differences in the interface, this is more or less what vector plotting is like on a modern program like Inkscape. It feels pretty much exactly the same, almost. This is now closed loop. Yep, connected. need to save now in case it'll crash again. Oops. I only wanted to move that one particular node, but it drags everything else with it. Notice graphics inconsistencies. I click on something and then it clicks on another thing. I'm trying to fix that node. So node click detection isn't exactly the best in this program. To zoom out. And there we go, it crashes again. Why not we just reboot Windows or reboot the whole computer, because there were weird problems last time. So reboot the whole machine, because you know this system is a bit dodgy when something has gone wrong previously, and then doing a nice warm reboot should fix it. Because virtual machines are not as fun. Real hardware is where the fun's at. I think I got my microphone gain too high. No, it's fine. Oh, great. Crappy switch hub is down, because I actually have this old 386 networked, and I can actually access my file server from here. Never mind the glitches on the bottom, that's just the VGA to composite converter. It doesn't like 400 line modes. Okay, let's continue. It was a lot more stable last time. Oh wait, we ended up loading a sample. Oh wow. It's possible the document is corrupt, and then trying to do anything with it will cause the program to crash. Then I don't know how the hell artists were able to design complex things with this, when even a simple design like this is unstable already. It's probably because doesn't seem to run well in 1024x768. Perhaps it's a bit buggy at this resolution. If that's the case, then I'll have to fall back to 800 by 600. The bulk of the fun of retro computing comes from playing around with old actual hardware. It's not as fun on a virtual machine. Plus, you're sometimes more limited with a virtual machine. Let me see if I can remove the page borders. Let me save again. Nope. I think I can just downscale. It's a vector after all. And there we go. Well, because I love hard disk startup sounds. Well, I actually changed the hard disk of my 386 from a Mac Store to a Seagate. Both are 520 MB hard drives. Because the Mac Store one was making rather concerning noises, and then I wanted to be a bit safe and decided to swap the hard drive. Contents are still the same though, I just did a full disk transfer. I think I really had to go back down to 800 by 600 mode because it's unstable in 1024 by 768 it seems. Even though I really like the 1024 by 768 mode because that's the closest I could get to an actual workstation resolution of the time. Plus vector strokes look nicer at this resolution. Oh, hi, Jim Optiplex. Give me a sec, I'm just gonna get my smartphone and use it to view the chat. So I don't have to look at the back. Oh wait, my phone is low bat. So anyway, okay, I already have it prepped up. So yeah, hi Jim Optiplex. This is Illustrator 4.1 running on an actual period correct computer, more or less. So right now I'm working on this design. I'm going to accept some requests if you want to. Program's a little screwy though, because this has been crashing rather frequently, which is unusual because last time I did a stream of this it was working fine. But I was doing it at 800 by 600, so perhaps running at a lower resolution would fix it. Perhaps when this program crashes next time. So where do I go about this type of hairdo? It's actually, the interface is, parts of the interface are actually surprisingly modern. Right now I'm just gonna finish up that that design I made a long while ago, which is this one. I'm gonna complete this if I can. By the way, did you know that a CRT monitor can actually produce better colors than an LCD, or for a time? Yeah, CRTs actually had better contrast during the mid 2000s when people started ditching them. And basically the LCDs generally don't produce very good blacks. They still have that grayish tint. You know, people prefer convenience over image quality. In other words, CRTs had superior contrast. Even the low-end ones tend to have superior contrast when properly tuned. The only downside is that they get flickery at lower refresh rates. But there were mid to high-end monitors that can do 70 or 85 or even 120. No, the Paradise card doesn't have any composite or S-video output. I'm actually using a VGA to composite an S-video converter, which is then fed to one of my computers that streams the captured video to my main PC, which then streams it to my main computer, which then streams it to YouTube. You just need to stroke. Also, in case you're wondering, the reason why the illustration looks like a wireframe is because you're supposed to mostly do your vector plotting in wireframe mode, because usually your computer would not be fast enough to render this as a full vector in real time. But I can show you what it will look like now. Oh, it actually looks pretty sweet now. Yeah, I just use a converter box. Plus, it's much more practical since I can also use it on other computers that lack composite output. You can even use it to like play some Steam games on a CRT TV. Perhaps I need to make this like that. You could just you need to select both this and that. Oh, I should have dragged that while I was holding shift. Select that, select that. Also, by the way, Jim and Apollo, the interface, this is what Windows used to look like. There's no taskbar. Instead, applications appear as icons on the desktop. You don't put files on the desktop, only applications that have been minimized. This is pre-Windows 95, where it introduced the taskbar that we all know and love. Great. By the way, about CF cards on retro computers, I heard horror stories about the SCSI emulator board frying a PowerPC IBM ThinkPad. Really strange though. Probably I think what happened was that the controller card got fried. I don't know the exact story of that, but basically it cost another vintage computer. So what else? I don't know, it's just a random character design I came up with when I started playing around with Vintage Illustrator. The design is based from designs from an artist I don't like now. But my mind refuses to not adopt her style. I've actually gone pretty close already, I believe. Though her style now has changed. Why not I just draw the neck and I'll call it a day. So let's see what it looks like in illustration mode. Looks pretty. Looks pretty. Save it. Gotta save it. Oh yeah, CF cards are often much more compatible and also easier to use on a vintage computer because CF cards are essentially just mini hard disks with an actual IDE interface, or at least a certain few of them, or a good majority at least. . By the way, anyone who watched my previous stream that was done on a 386, remember that there was like a weird reverb thing? Well, I already fixed that. Turns out I had the mic monitor on and it was causing some kind of feedback effect. Oh man, I think I can just fix that. I'm great. By the way, I'm actually not using an old ball mouse. I'm actually using a PS2 laser mouse on the 386, and I did that because via a homemade PS2 mouse to serial mouse adapter. Yeah, I actually made my own little adapters. I think I can just join them or select them. It's not perfect, but it's much better than a laser mouse. So much better, in fact. What game was it? The last stream? Yeah, the last stream I was playing a bunch of games. Oh yeah, I might end up playing a bunch of DOS games on this thing, like Doom, which revolutionized the first-person shooter genre. Is basically one of the granddaddies of the genre, granddaddy games of the genre, and Wolfenstein 3D, games that started the first-person shooter genre. And they're considered classics. There we go. By the way, I built my mouse adapter out of an Arduino Leonardo, then I ported it to a much smaller Arduino Nano, and I built a proper board for it. No need of Max 232 chips. The serial ports actually can handle can actually take 5 volts. So it should be very simple to build yourself as long as you have an Arduino lying around. I need to like go to the comfort room for now. Take me a bit. I'll just preview you the design for now while you guys wait for me. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. Well, Geminopolex, I haven't started work on that yet. I've been busy with other things lately. So I could try starting as soon as possible. Perhaps as part of a reason why I wanted to do a 3D rendition of that fan-made track is as a test map of sorts for my 3D engine project. Scarlet was called. Yeah, you can actually do editing in this mode, but it's a bit slow. Oh, I think I can just do it right here and here, so but yeah, there's a disadvantage is you cannot see the paths sometimes. I have to zoom in here to correct that. Keep saving frequently because you know this program loves to crash. That's lasted for a while though. And then a few minutes later, bam, crash. Also, a wonderful thing about Windows 3.11 is that because it's a preemptive multitasking operating system, when one program crashes, the whole system goes down with it. Sometimes. There's still chance to recover from it, but there are chances where you simply have to reboot the whole machine because the thing has become too unstable. Surprisingly good. You could actually still make pretty decent looking vector illustrations on a very old version of Illustrator on a very old PC. Well, I guess if you can draw filled Berger curves, you can still do modernish designs with it. I can actually bring this to a modern printer and then print it out with through PostScript, and it'll look gorgeous. It's a bit fuzzy on here because real-time rendering of vectors back then were not as precise as real-time rendering of vectors nowadays. I haven't checked yet. Perhaps I can after I get this stroke down. Just close this. Join. could play music in the background, but I need all the horsepower on this 386. Let me see if I could like import a random bitmap. CGM DXF looks like it only supports vector formats, but it looks of it. Place art. What does that mean? Encapsulated postscript. Oh, bitmap. Let's try to put a stupid bitmap here. I don't think I have one that's I don't think I have ones that are 8-bit color depth, because I'm running in a 256 color mode at the moment, and you probably don't want to load true color images in 256 color mode, because the chances are the computer might hang. So I guess I'll have to go to my main computer and then transfer some art. So let's try that. Oops. Okay, copy the converted image to my file server. Now to retrieve it from this computer. This is how you do file management in 3.11. File manager was Windows Explorer before Windows Explorer, so I'm gonna connect to my network drive to mount it. Wait, network is down again. Great. Stupid cheap plugs. I think I'll have to reboot. I'll just type the full. Oh, there we go. Good. At least I don't have to. I also want to use this as a wallpaper, so I'll just copy it to the Windows directory. Just drag and drop. Yep, it's actually copying a file from a modern server PC. This old 386. So let's try to import that. Make sure I've already saved this. Place art. Bitmap. Windows. This one. Color preview. Place. It's taking a while though. This 386 has 20 megs, so we shouldn't be short on memory in this case. Not sure what it's doing at this place mode though. Probably doing some kind of processing to the image. And then the dithering is probably making it run so slow. I don't know. Come on. Almost there. Yeah, first thing I know is cause the drawing to be very slow to render. Yep. Oh, there it is. So zoom out, zoom in. Yeah, we could. This is the image in wireframe form. So let's put this send to back, and then let's preview it. I love that slow rendering speed. Feels so workstation-y. So yeah, you can actually import the drawing. I think it would support true color, no problem. It will be in full color if you print this to a PostScript printer, no problem. So you gotta undo this. So close. Nope. Open. So yeah, you can actually import bitmap images. Perhaps I can do that after this Super ACL. I don't know what a crop top is though. Could use a reference if that's the case. What the heck? Oh, I thought we lost a node there. Ah, okay. Now I'll see what I can do. And now I need to finish this up and maybe perhaps color it. Don't do this. That one doesn't look right. Let's delete this whole stroke. Oh, I thought they closed it. Also, I tried to fix latency of my voice from the video, because there's actually a stream within a stream going on in this stream session. So there's actually technically two streams going on at once. Oh, great. I think we need to zoom in a bit more. Lack of lasso really hurts here. I'm gonna zoom in here. And join. Fit drawing to window. Let's vector render this. What do you guys think? It actually looks pretty. It looks pretty. Not too bad, not too shabby. Seems I just observed that we have like a 5 second delay. But yeah, I also like, reason why I like drawing with old programs on old software is the slow rendering of of vector elements. It feels so rad watching it. Like, it's like, look at it go, rendering those vector plots, vector objects. I wonder if you guys have actually caught that slow rendering of vectors. I really love that effect. Why not we try to color this? But the downside, the tricky bit about coloring in this version of Illustrator is the color selector is absolutely primitive. You literally type in CMY color values. You have a preview of what the color will look like, but you don't have like a gradient view of the colors. Like a modern program would. So I imagine artists who design in Illustrator would have like a CMYK palette chart, and then they would type in the numbers in that chart. They need it. So yeah, let's just draw this last bit of hair on the other side, and it should be golden. I'm probably the only art streamer who does art on really old computers. Though I'm most likely not the only one, but it's rather uncommon, of course, because not everyone dabbles with old things. I suppose I could take that as something that makes me a bit more special than, like, say, LGR. Nothing against him though, but it seems I'm more varied when it comes to retro computing, unlike the majority. Not dissing on anyone though. Just have this unique abilities otherwise not present from other people. So let's vector paint this and see. Gorgeous. Now we just need to try to color this. So here's how you color. I already have a bit of vector here for the hair. So it's pretty much going to be like Inkscape, but the color selection is going to be limited. So let's give her a bit of a brown hair. So if I remember correctly, paint style, no, these are, paint style, fill, process color, there's what I'm talking about. I don't know if it'll actually, let's see, options, those are stroke options. There we go. Cyan, magenta, yellow. I think I need to ramp up my contrast so I can see the colors more accurately. Now that looks like a green. Yeah, you had physical reference sheets back then, especially in a DOS environment where you cannot have multiple windows, obviously. So what color of the hair should we give her? I can't seem to select brown. What does black do? Oh yeah, it darkens. If only this color preview here is much bigger so we can see more accurately. Actually, I think that looks good for hair, so let's apply that. If only you could like copy these colors so you can have like a palette and then click on them, but nope. Soul manual. Custom colors. Oh, you could do it here. So you have to like paint style. You should select custom colors. Oh yeah, you can actually define your own palette. So let's copy those color values. I need to have access to what the heck, really? Keyboard no longer responds, and I suppose the system had died. Control delete does nothing. What crashed this time? Oh yeah, file manager. Never mind, at least we have Illustrator there. It was trying to talk to the file server. Oh, give me a sec, I need to change this adapter plug of a switch hub. 386 got disconnected, and then Windows threw DHCP error because it got disconnected. Yes. It'll auto resolve it anyway. I think that explains why it crashed. Or at least we still have things running. Oh yeah, that's also an example of a blue screen in 3.11. This is blue screens in 3.11 and 9X are different from NT based Windows such as XP and newer. You can actually recover from them, from these types of crashes. C is 47, Y is M is 87, Y is 67, black is 0. And we're gonna set as a custom color. So select that, and then C 47, M 87, 67. Is that already saved? Yep. Okay, perfect. Now if we vector render preview, not too shabby. Nice to hear, MXTP. Is that your user handle? Yeah. Are you actually going to try taking on making your own PS1 games with your dev kit? Nice to hear, a new recruit coming soon. Yeah, I seem to have most of my following seem to have come from PSX dev, because I'm currently one of the few who makes rather impressive PlayStation homebrews. And they're free too. I don't mind it though. I'm gonna try to fill this entire hairpiece. Plot vector there. Plot vector here. Call it on a day. Oh, and it auto close. Oh. Oh wait, wrong stroke. Oh great, it's ruined. It's not too bad though. Oh great. see how this will turn out. Save. Okay, managed to recover. Why a blue screen instead of a pop-up window? A little bit more logical. Blue screen happened because the TCP/IP stack managed to acquire a new DHCP address. So we should not see that again unless it decides to troll us even more. Preview illustration. I need to fix a few strokes here. Bring to front. Yeah, Windows 3.11. Okay, let's fill the face. I wonder if it's unhealthy to like try to copy one-to-one the art style of an artist that I don't like. Because I've been doing that in the past few years or so. To the point that I'm almost accurate to her old style. There we go. Okay, now we had to paint this white. Paint style white. Then preview mode. Send to back. And send this one back. Well, it's just a side style, though I have a few characters that are whose designs are actually based heavily on those. But her style has changed. I mean, mine is based on her old one that she doesn't draw with anymore. I mostly focus on her old style. And a lot of her old fans might have gone away from her when she stopped updating when she stopped doing that webcomic thing I remember she used to do. Yeah. Oh great, it's perfectly in line. Now it's going to be impossible. Yup, impossible indeed. Yup. But let me see if it draws properly. Perhaps I need to step this down. Step this down too. Now what? By the way, this computer is actually so weak you cannot watch videos on this. Oh wait, oh wait, Control Z is supported? Dude. To go artwork on mode. This is the proper stroke. I need to adjust. Yeah, Control Z is actually supported, even though it doesn't say Control Z in the menus. I much prefer Control Z. It's surprising. Let's save this. Into back. I think I had to send this back first. And this part here. Oh wait. I had to send this part back. Yeah, the layer control is limited to just bring to the bottom of the barrel or top of the pile. So you have to like come up with a stack trick. You have to send to back at a specific order. Why does it still do like something like this? I think I also need to put this back. I don't know, it's getting rather complex. Perhaps I can just keep that artifact. I have to drop this. Then drop this. Oh, I got it reversed. Then I drop. Oh wait, I don't drop that part. Oh, okay. Do again. Go wireframe. Now let's view that again. There, perfect. There's also a defect here. By the looks of it. I think I have to send this back. And send this back. Alright, what's the shortcut for send to back? B. Send that to back. Send that to back. Send that to back. Send that to back. and send this to back. Send this to back. Send this one 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 to back. Send this to back. And send this to back. Send this to back. Yeah. I could just check the front. Okay, there. I don't know, this layering mechanism is not exactly the most convenient. I need to go. Bring that to top. Let's see how that looks now. I don't know, this is really taxing. You have limited control of what the order of the drawing of the vector elements. Oh great, stupid family member coming. I'll be back. Yeah, you can't hear them you would have not heard them anyway. It was far on the far side of the house. And Mike's not sensitive enough. People are annoying sometimes. Great. Oh, I think I'll just make this loop around there. That should solve it. So I'll just bring this to back. That explains why I'm having issues. So I want this to be back. And I need to fix this. So go wireframe, plot vectors. Just like what I do in Inkscape, pretty much. I also had my door shut because baby screams are gonna penetrate through. Oh, they're too quiet anyway. Stuff like this is why I kind of wish to have my own home, so that there'll be no annoying people annoying me. And having your own house is very expensive. I need to send this back. Send this back. And send this back. I think I'll have to draw an overlaying element there. A vector. Back. 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 And then back. Okay, there. We just need to set a color for this. There we go. We have a bunch of pets, a bunch of dogs, bunch of cats. The only notable cat we have is the Siamese one. The dogs are all just generic. This program it's also unusable when you have shapes on top of another shape. Vector strokes on top of other strokes. You'll end up selecting that when you're trying to do like a box select. So at least it turned out really nice though. I think prefer white as this skin color. style white, and I'm gonna have to layer this around. The easiest way to do it is to put this top, this one too, and this one. But also you cannot page up, page down like an Inkscape. Only bring to front and send to back. Those are the only options you have. So you have to like send this back. Send this back. Send this back. Send this back. And send this one back. And then I already have a fill shape here. No, but I don't have a fill yet. There's also no layers in this version of Illustrator, so well, you could group, which may help. I haven't tried grouping yet. Back. Okay. And what should be the color of her shirt? Great, define one. Up here. New. So let's try that color in style. Sure. We need to fix this. Shift T, Shift T, Shift T. Oh. Yep, I think that's correct. Shift T, Shift T again, top again. Now let's oh, that seriously looks very good for a drawing made in a program from the 1990s. What do you guys think? I think it turned out awesome. Perhaps I could just if I want to post this in the highest quality, I could just import this to Inkscape and render it on its much superior vector renderer. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. Okay, I can perhaps try to do Lizzie. So let's create a new document. Let's save this again just to make sure. So create new document and let's start drawing Lizzie. I hope Super ACL is still on here because it's time to do his request. What are these nodes? So if I draw them, we have to draw this outer circle as a black. This one. Right. So yeah, eventually I'll post that finished drawing of that character's portrait on DeviantArt. Both Illustrator rendered version and Inkscape rendered. Obviously, the Inkscape rendered one will be much higher, much better quality. So, import only. Looks like Super ACL left. Oh well, just do it anyway. I'm gonna draw Lizzie Trickster in a crop top and jeans. In this particular version of Illustrator. So Bezier curve, so powerful, you can draw anything with it at great precision. in both 2D and 3D, though in 3D it's a bit tricky to deal with Bezier curves. I tried it with Blender. Blender's NURBS curves. NURB curves gives you NURBS. Crap pun, I know. Oh, copy, no. I suppose that's how you do gradient tricks in Illustrator. Set this to black. Save this. Do I say slots is enough to get the H2000 working? You may only need the additional slots if you want to have the other add-ons like the DTL H2700 Performance Analyzer and the DTL S2020 hard disk CD-ROM emulator card, which acts as an SCSI adapter as well. But for just plain H2000 stuff, 2 ISA slots is good enough, but it's nice to have more if possible. CPU, Celeron 300. CPU doesn't really matter, but ideally you want to pick the fastest one you have. My DTL H2000 workstation is equipped with a 933 MHz Pentium 3. My old setup had a Pentium, 550 MHz Pentium 3. It was a slot 1 system. One of the not as common tomato board variants of the slot 1, but it's broken now. It doesn't seem to boot, perhaps due to bad capacitors, which is a common problem. I don't really have desire to revive it because the chipset sucks on it. I tend to have the impression that Sheep in the Big City is probably one of the first digitally animated cartoons. They put a bunch of filters over it to try to make it look like a traditionally drawn cartoon. I don't know if anyone else here had watched Sheep. I liked that as a kid, even though I didn't understand most of the jokes that mostly appealed to adults. They're sort of like things like oxymoron. I don't understand that when I was little. Rewatching it, I'm now old though. I don't understand. I need to resize this. Scale. The system that I use to install the H2000 on is a Dell Optiplex Gx 110 with an ISA expansion card board, so I can. Usually they don't come with ISA, but you can replace the board on the card cage with one that has ISA slots. Fortunately, there was someone on eBay who was selling it for pretty cheap, which is sweet. Don't know if that listing is still up there though. Could not find one for an HP Vectra though. I would have preferred the Vectra because it has AGP slots, so I could stick an FX 5500. Much better video card. Right now I'm only using an S3 Savage 4, and that one is not exactly a great card. Cannot do you get a massive performance hit trying to having a 3D viewport that's more than 1024 by 768. Plus it has some of the buggiest drivers you can ever imagine. If you thought AEI was buggy, S3 was pretty buggy. Also, want to hear something that's pretty funny about a certain range of ATI graphics cards. The Fire GL series. They have GL written on the name, yet they often cannot do OpenGL graphics. It has GL in the name, but can't do GL in actual, which is a bit odd. It was a professional card, like similar to the NVIDIA Quadros. And I find it peculiar why it won't support OpenGL. I expect professional hard software, CAD software, will use GL and not Direct3D. So weird. Control I, black. Control I, black. Let me see how this turns out. Ooh. Either we have Lizzie or Marilyn. Who knows? Obviously, Marilyn is a far more superior character than my characters. It's a shame that Nerdsman 567 retired her. If Bopiverse were to be retired, that'll be alright, but Marilyn, no. Oh well. I don't know what happened to that Marchetta though. From what I remember, it was kind of like a fan knockoff. I've had someone do a 4 CRT monitor setup with a pair of certain specific type of Matrox cards that support multi-card linkage, so you could have like 4 VGA outputs for 4 monitors. It's ridiculous though, and quite hilarious. It's a special media vision a Matrox media vision thing, something. The Matrox one that my friend did a quad monitor setup with, it was able to do it on DOS programs. So the cards were literally like running in multi-monitor natively, and it's completely transparent to applications. According to him, the only limitation is just the Windows operating system and how high the resolution should be, in span. I think there's some game box art that are actually drawn in Illustrator and then painted on a very high-end PostScript capable printer. Let's zoom out. Okay, let's continue on with this plot there, plot there. Ah, there you are, Super ACL. Well, I'm actually doing it now. Can't you see? A sleeve crop top would be weird. What do you think? No, let's copy. Oh no! Ah! When did I last save? Ah! Oh well. Imagine you're like an employee at a company and then like crap tech, and then you're tasked to design something, and all of a sudden that keeps happening from time to time, and your work in progress kept getting held back because of it. That's why I save often. Save it in every step. Save on every desirable step. The wonders of 16-bit Windows. Yeah, this is 16-bit under the hood, but it's sort of running in a weird 1632-bit hybrid. And this weird kernel mechanism has been around since like all the way up to the 9X architecture, 95, 98, and the infamous Millennium. Okay, what next? Oh, there we go again. Hello, Mr. Error. Well, good thing that just happened as soon as I saved. Also, this monitor is starting to go soft again. I just recently tuned this thing. What's a crop top again? Shirt with that's just half. I don't understand why some artists only post their comics on Tapasio. I don't know what benefit that brings other than slight inconvenience to those who are not on that site. Is it because DeviantArt is literally that undesirable nowadays? Well, the community is garbage. It's progressively getting worse from the looks of it. Uh-oh. There we go. I don't know if this program is Win32s. I think it's still 16-bit. Also, hi Treason. It sounds very redundant. Oh well. I think I can I'll just show you the finished drawing of the previous illustration I made that I just got done a while ago. On Discord later. So I'm gonna draw a crop top. Yeah, it would be I think it would be absolute madness if Microsoft actually tried to make Win64 some kind of compatibility layer thing like Win32s was. Well, I know it would be hell. Did that copy? No. So how do you split this again? I forgot. You do it like that, but it doesn't split. It refuses. Or it only works with one end of the control node. It's rather a bit frustrating, to be honest. I wonder if there's any video game box art that was actually drawn in Illustrator. That would be interesting to see, to be honest. always save frequently or your program will screw you. Might look into that. I think there's a couple of Autodesk's programs in good old WinWorld. I feel having less sharp edges looks nicer than making it sharp. Rounded bits like these here. These actually turned out really good. Usually I would just keep them sharp. Perhaps keeping it curvy makes it a bit more natural, because if it were pointy it looks like a robotic thing or something. Perhaps the only parts that I should leave pointy would be, what's this node doing here? That's a junk node. That's because it's not connected. Here. Here. Another of those one-step only undo annoyances. Put it here, then here. And it doesn't feel like it connected. Yep, it did not connect. You have to select these and then put a join. Join. You could just do it on this part here. If I can't ruin other spots. There we go. Got joined. Easier now to there. That should do the trick. Now oops. Yeah, I'm saving. Every time you see that progress bar on the bottom left, that's saving. Something's up here. Zoom in there closely. Just some junk nodes. There we go. think I'm gonna try to do a bit of a variance from my usual style here. By the way, hi Treason, have you actually tried designing something in vectors before? I'm curious. Another one of those one-step undo annoyances. I love how a lot of 3.11 applications rarely take advantage of the right mouse button. Currently taking a new take on how I usually draw this bit. Okay. When I started doing art, started trying to like take art seriously, I knew that vectors are the way to go, or one of the ways to go when it comes to drawing good looking illustrations. At least, for one thing, at least I didn't resort to MS Paint. It's literally amateur choice. I wonder if there's actually any MIDI composition software in Windows 3.11. Supposed to be, should be. The pose that I want to do is where she's like flying or something. Can't describe it. Describe the pose, but sort of like she's in a jumping state and then it's sort of landing. Coming in for a landing, I suppose. A bit different from my usual style. I want to try to do something dynamic, I suppose. I need to complete this stroke. Sometimes I haven't tried OpenSCAD yet. I haven't even heard of it. Having a laser mouse definitely helps with this, to be honest. I used to have a trackball before, a Logitech one, but it broke. Mainly just the cable. When I tried to fix it, I think I ended up frying it. No. I don't know, I might try to see if I can fix it still. And I doubt it'll still work. Wait, wrong tool. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a pose where she's like floating or something. I remember seeing a bunch of anime art that was like that more or less. Let me see if I could just join this together using average. Okay, there we go. That's the kind of join I wanted. Clearly, that's not joined. there we go. Join points. I would like to play some background music during this, but I feel having a bunch of some apps running in the background can cause some stability problems. You know, Windows 3.11 is a bit of just a pile of cards or something. In the way how you describe its stability in a nutshell. Small little things can cause big problems. I suppose so. I mean, I could just play some ad-lib tunes on this, but I don't think having a command prompt running a background while I'm doing Illustrator stuff is a good idea. Worst thing that could happen is this whole system just goes berserk and I have to hard reboot and I lose my progress here. I wonder how Illustrator handles these vectors. Does it actually handle these as floats, but it rapidly converts it back and forth between fixed and float? Because from what I can tell, the bezier curves are not exactly as smooth as with modern vector renderers. So it's probably doing a bunch of shortcuts in most of the rendering work in fixed point. Also, I love how you cannot delete certain line segments. Oh, there we go. Oh, more rendering errors. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is due to the display adapter being at fault or it's just a common bug with GDI sometimes. I'm gonna save that. So there. This wireframe editing is pretty much closely resembles how 3D modeling was done in the 90s on even the most powerful workstations. Bulk of the editing was done in wireframe mode. The wireframe mode still has a use aside from performance. It allows you to see through the insides of the models. Obviously, I have to save frequently. Can't really put much detail due to limitations of the program. Oh, let's see how this turned out. Pretty okay, actually. Just need to draw the arms. I think Illustrator 4.2 is actually Win32s, is it? Oh wait, it isn't yet. I don't think so. Oh, I thought it started plotting. Oh, I'm starting to feel hungry. Also on my Arduino mouse adapter, every time you move the mouse, the serial status lines blink. Well, since it obviously sends the serial data. As part of the mouse conversion. Okay, I had to zoom in quite far and just see that. Oh. Wait, no undo, of course. Yeah, wonders of vectors is you can actually easily remanipulate parts of your illustration very with ease. You don't have to worry about erasing and losing detail. But it's not as flexible as drawing. That's good enough. Those control points give sort of a false pupils. Let's try to draw the hands. The arms. I was actually half expecting more people to like do requests, but no. I wonder if these still look like jeans still. There's sort of a bit of a cross between, I don't know. Whatever. Uh-oh. Hmm. I don't know. I feel like just wanting to draw her floating or floating in something or somewhat that made her go into that kind of pose somewhat. Can't really do much here. To be honest. Oh, 3 hours. Once I get this done, I'm most likely not gonna color this for now. I'll just color it when I finish it up for posting. Perhaps I could just play some DOS games and call it a stream. By the way, Jimenopolis, do you think it's impressive that I was able to score a computer from from 1992 that's still functions, considering these things don't always last, especially with the infamous leaky batteries that the motherboards had, which this computer almost got killed by. Luckily, it was still okay when that leak happened. I replaced the battery with the alkaline, 4.5 volts. Should be perfectly fine though. Also with a diode, because you want to charge an alkaline. Though some people have more impressive collections than I am. Currently, this is the oldest computer I have. I would love to get an IBM someday. This 386 actually had gone through quite a bit. Originally this was owned by a teacher at a school who still had this. It was in a different casing though, baby tower, with a 40 megabyte quantum pro drive, 40 megabytes. It was a pretty chunky hard disk, like it was as big as two hard disks stacked on top of another. And it only held 40 megabytes. And unfortunately that drive eventually died. I'm pretty sure that hard disk is much older than the motherboard, the computer. 40 meg would be standard for like late 80s. And then I put it onto a new case that was originally... Oh great, wonderful, yay! Good thing I saved though. It was I put it in a bed desktop form case that was originally a 46, but the motherboard wasn't very good. It was working, but it had one of those infamous Dallas clocks. Oh, system paging going on. Oh, I ended up opening this one that I just finished. Windows 9X, Windows 3.11 paging. Whenever it pages, the mouse cursor doesn't move anymore unless it finishes slowly paging. I don't know what is it doing exactly. Is it paging or is it just wasting my time? I can't move the mouse at all, and if I can move it, it runs so slow. But keyboard inputs work fine. That one's nice and responsive. Usually this happens when I open Netscape Navigator. I think I have to spend a little bit of time waiting for this system to finish paging or whatever. Okay, there we go. I don't know, the hard disk lamp was blinking lightly for a while. I can't move the mouse cursor. Programs appear to be running fine. Is that Windows paging? I suspect it's paging. It's annoying nonetheless. Usually this happens when I open up Netscape, yeah. It didn't crash, more like Windows stopped accepting mouse commands, and then I cannot move it at all. Okay, time to draw the other. Oh wait, let's just see how this turned out. See how well this is faring. Not too bad. It actually reminds me strongly of the cheap cartoon art you see in some hardware packages or something. Especially with it reminds me of installer illustrations of installer software. Actually. Okay, now let's draw the other arm and call it a art for now. I don't know. Another option is that it was a low-end system. You just stuffed the 386. I think it originally came with 8 megabytes, or was it 16? No. But they managed to upgrade this to 20 megabytes. I don't know where the yeah, I think I had edu sim modules. No, not edu sim, the older 36 pin DIM modules. Don't know where they have gone though. Seem to have lost them. I noticed I managed to get once earlier in this stream 6 viewers, and then quickly dropped to 3. I don't know what was that about. Hmm. Can't think of much to say at the moment. I wonder how the sound latency is when I between the video and the sound and my voice over. Yeah, thanks for the compliment about that project. Yeah, Wanted to make a 3D platformer out of that. Currently, I haven't done much work on it. I'm currently stumped with trying to figure out a good way to implement the animation system for 3D models. Keep in mind that everything had to be done in fixed point unless you want a slideshow. It's challenging. I had to make animation mechanisms from scratch because I cannot use the libraries. Either they're just outdated and they're most likely limited to where the character models consist of several smaller models, like each limb is its own 3D model, and which makes the character look like an action figure more than a proper 3D figure. I don't like using that, obviously. I have a bit of a better standard than that. Yeah, animating 3 models is a pain. Many just resort to literally having multiple copies of the 3 model, each being a frame of animation. Quake did that, for example. The original Quake. And it looked pretty stiff. Uh-oh. Supposed to do it like this. Oh man, my hunger is getting better of me. Starting to really hot. Getting hungry. Smells like someone's cooking bananas. I wonder if Cakewalk 3 actually supports using your built-in your sound card's MIDI, or it's literally just a MIDI sequencer. Oh man, that looked pretty bad. And there he goes, crashes again. And let me guess, I did not save in that hand part. I think so. I think Half-Life uses a skeletal system. Oh great. Yay! Wow. Early bird crash. It just crashed by just scrolling. What about clicking? Crash. That would be wonderful. So I need to correct. Wow! I think it's now unstable. I think this illustration is now unstable. Like, it will cause the program to crash when that one particular element gets drawn. And if that's the case, then bye-bye drawing. Or I had to salvage it by... Wow, horizontal scrolling causes that. Oh, and then I'm out of memory. Yay, 3.11 is so much fun. I have to reboot Windows. No, not really reboot, more like restart. And also this monitor has gone soft again. Hard to tell if my eyes are getting soft or the monitor is getting soft. Oh, whoopee, we got a glitch bar. Wow. Wow, look at that. This is strange. There's some weird problems with the Paradise. I don't know if this is... if it's a problem with the chipset or just the drivers being a bit screwy. Look at that. I have a bar following me. There's something wrong with the DAC, hardware cursor problem. Which means I'll have to reboot the computer. Nah, I don't think so. I can still keep going. Wow, this is actually really unique. You have a big bar that follows the cursor. If I remember correctly, with these SVGA cards, they support like hardware sprites for like a cursor. So I had to reboot this thing. Like physically turn it off and turn on. By the way, High Treason, have you actually encountered something like that with a dodgy video card once? I've actually never encountered that. It's quite funky. Though I've encountered similar problems with this particular Paradise card. Never mind the garbage on the bottom. That's normal because that's the thing about the VGA converter. If the video being received is 400 line mode, like standard VGA, the remaining few lines will appear as garbage. I also suspect it could be the driver. I don't know if it's the graphics chip. I don't think the card is faulty in any way. I hope not. Oh, that one's cool. That sounds cool. I don't know. Hardware sprites do weird things when the card's not working right. Oh man, it's already 1 o'clock. I'll just go and finish up that Lizzie drawing and then call it a stream, I suppose. I hope the Lizzie one doesn't crash this time. I don't know, the thing about Windows 3.11, when a program crashes, there's still some remnants in memory or somewhere. And then that might cause other programs to go unstable. So in theory, it's possible to have a chain reaction of programs crashing left, right, and center. Just because one program crashed. Oh, that one's another weird hum effect thing. Need to clear this. I can't use this all because of that. Graphics errors, graphics errors. I'll just get this arm done and get done with it. So hungry. Save there. Now to tweak these together. It's easier to drag and drop in preview mode. More graphics corruption. I have this dumb series idea where basically I would go around and try to draw on a bunch of vintage computers and graphics workstations using the software that was period correct to that workstation. Basically going around drawing art, trying to draw art on very old graphics workstations, Silicon Graphics, Suns, etc. I think Suns were also used for Sun Spark stations were also used for graphics. I think there was also another range that sort of competed against Silicon Graphics. At this point, I had to use this mode. I'll follow in a while. Mom's calling me to eat lunch. I guess I'll just let's see how well that turned out. It's still not perfect. Looks pretty much. Shut up! I'll follow! Kick her out! Art can become frustrating when what you're trying to draw is does not line up with the image you're trying to that you're envisioning. That kinda sometimes turns me off from doing art sometimes. But usually I just keep trying until I get it right. I don't think there was ever a Mario Paint equivalent in the PS1. Maybe there was one, but only for like educational games. But for one of the educational titles for the console, that would have probably made use of the PlayStation mouse. If I remember correctly, in Mario Paint you can only store like one image at a time. Oh great, it's bonded. They clash. When strokes clash, they become annoying to separate. But good thing you can just use the keyboard. If only I could I don't know. Well, most of my viewers don't really play Quake 3 Arena. I was gonna say something about setting up a Quake server of my own and we'd frag each other in it. Looks so chubby. What is this? An MS Paint but vector version? Just crudely and correct it. You don't really see MS Paint quality vectors. I guess that's the best that I can do. Maybe make the thumb smaller. I got that perfectly right though, to be honest. One moment I got hands right, the next got it entirely wrong. Yeah, hands are always a pain. Oh, there we go. And let me guess, I forgot to save. And then the monitor has started to soften. Now I feel like I'm blind. But on the top, it's only at the center parts where it looks a bit soft. Oh yes, look at that. What a beauty. Oh, let me guess. It's a loop again. Crash, 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 left, right, and center. Every time you see that, view that part. Every time. Yeah, the advantage of vector, you can edit and tweak and edit and tweak, tweak and tweak and tweak, and then nothing will get damaged. You get a similar effect of tweaking on paper when you do digital sketching, but the canvas never gets destroyed. You just see remnants that you have to like clean up. I also experienced this phenomena where I can only draw good when when something is on a particular orientation, and when it's on another one, that's when things start to go downhill. Specifically hands too. Hands and other things. Where the quality would go downhill all of a sudden just by the change of orientation, whether it be just a flip or doing the other side of something. Not a fan of drawing asymmetrical. I know of things symmetrically, because it's never going to be consistent for me. Oh, yay. Application error. I cannot stop until I get this done. Yeah, let me guess. Open document, crash. What about starting up the system? Crash. And then some weird interrupt anomaly happens and it wipes your hard disk or destroys a good chunk of your file location table. I wonder if those incidents actually happen on some systems where a program crashes and then a slew of chaotic madness happens internally and then wipes your hard disk or severely corrupts it. It's theoretic, it's possible. That's why people build NAS systems that are garbage, and like mine, they use ECC RAM, because if something goes wrong, and that would just simply halt the system. This is one way to get about correcting to obviously I'm using an old computer end program. Though this seemed a lot more unstable than last time, I suspect the 1024 by 768 mode is the culprit, because the Paradise display adapter becomes somewhat a bit unstable at this resolution. Like you'd see elements of Windows not drawing correctly or not drawing at all, things like that. Graphical errors, essentially. Tends to happen more frequently in 1024 by 768. Perhaps I need to install a heatsink to the Paradise chipset. That would probably help. Usually the crashing problems are to be expected if you're not using a proper workstation system. I'm pretty sure if you use Illustrator on a Silicon graphics, it would be a hell of a lot more stable, especially when the OS isn't garbage. You got freaking Unix instead. Here is just a stack of cards, more or less. Illustrator is also available for Next Step, but only for 68K Next Steps. Let me see how this turns out. Save it. Well, the hand looks better now, I suppose. Oh, it looks stretched as F. I'm not gonna eat until I get this done. I guess this will be just, I probably don't want to do art on Vintage Illustrator again. It's been quite frustrating. It's fun and all, but it's just clunky. So I guess with this illustration, I'm going to have to carry this over to my new computer and then convert it to, import it to Inkscape and then finish it up on that. Much better. I'm already satisfied with just doing two illustrations on this version of Illustrator, but I don't want to do any more. Seriously a pain. Perhaps I can just do tweaking up here. Yeah, these fingers are a bit too long. Save it now or before it crashes. I think I'll have to finish the feet too, but I'm already hungry. So preview. No, that looked much better. Perhaps just tweak these parts here a little bit. There. What do you guys think? This is the best that I can do with the Vintage Illustrator. To be honest, it actually turned out pretty nice. It actually reminds me strongly of some old 2D illustrations I would see on some Windows programs and games. Okay, see ya, High Treason. I think you've already left by now. I'm also gonna be ending the stream. I think I already have had enough by now, and I also need to eat my lunch. So yeah, perhaps I'm just gonna finish this up off stream on Illustrator. I want to get a line art done at least, but the coloring will be done on Inkscape. So yeah, just leave it there for now, so you guys can like admire. I wonder if Super ACL is still here. But yeah, that's pretty much my adventures of doing vector illustrations on a very old version of Illustrator on period correct hardware. So actually, this program was made in 1995. People would have already started using 486s by that time, so but Illustrator seems pretty usable on a 386 as well. Perhaps only in the more complicated ones it becomes a bit problematic. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much for this stream. I'm gonna be finishing this one up off stream after I eat my lunch, and then I'm gonna post the results on my DeviantArt. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and watching this stream, and also watching me getting tortured by Illustrator crashing over and over and over and over again, and then losing progress on every crash. But yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, pretty much. So yeah, Lameguy64 is signing out, and I hope you enjoyed this stream, and have a nice day. I actually tend to repeat and over again, by the way. So yeah, see you guys.